Hey, what's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be talking about the welterweight division and a few things that I wanted to mention about it. Not a whole lot of people are fighting each other, and I don't know if you've put a whole lot of thought into it, but it's a pretty strong division, and that's probably why you've seen some fight each other, but not too many. The reason for that is I think it's the wear and tear that it would take for you to fight most of the top guys in the welterweight division. I did some research on Floyd, and he probably skipped around to a good, strong challenge, or someone that could put some mileage on you or wear and tear on your body, every 3 to 4 fights. And even those guys, it's the name that makes you think that, but the timing and when he fought them is one factor to consider. Second factor to consider is the style in which he fought them. Most other fighters come forward, they engage. Floyd doesn't. He avoids contact and clinches during if the opponent has a good spot, he'll usually clinch and run. So that's that. But you kind of see why I'm starting to build some appreciation for him, because I do appreciate him, but you'll see. But yeah, with that being said, if Floyd had to walk through that division, he wouldn't. That's why in the last few fights, he didn't fight any of those guys. They all remained untouched. Actually, that division has a lot. I give them more credit than I give Floyd for his accomplishments, because they have nothing else to do. They have to fight each other. Some of them have already fought quite a bit. One of the most impressive guys to me, not most impressive, but very impressive for the skills that he holds and the strength he has as a fighter. I was pretty impressed with Kahn. He's probably got the biggest balls out of all of them, because he fought Maidana. He actually beat Maidana, which was pretty impressive. Fought and beat Judah. Danny Garcia. Lost to Danny. Lost to Canelo. Lost to Terence Crawford, and also fought Lamont Peterson. So those are really big challenges for Kahn, but he actually took those fights. And if it wouldn't have been for him not having the strongest chin, and I think he would have given Canelo a lot of trouble. You could see what his speed did. He was just he was not the most refined fighter, but it was still pretty. He was a pretty cool fighter, nevertheless. Brook took on a whole lot of challenges. Triple G, Sean Porter, Errol Spence, which he lost to. Crawford, he fought him as well, which he lost to. But those are, man, who the hell fights these 4 guys like that? That's a lot of wear and tear. So there's no way Floyd would have fought any of these guys. Let me show you who he fought in the last few fights. Manny's like 5'5". Berto, Maidana twice. Why do you think he fought him twice? He's avoiding all these guys. Guerrero, an old Cotto, what I call a fixed Ortiz fight, and then an old Mosley. And before that, it was an old Marquez that and a lot of people are going to compare. Marquez is a good fighter, but you have to remember, it's the fashion in which you fight the opponent. If you're going to pot shot and run all day, you can beat anybody in the world. You know what I mean? It's just pot shot, run. And if you have special protection in terms of the refs not telling you anything, then You can get away with that with any fighter. But next on the list is Danny Garcia. He fought Matisse, Kahn, Errol Spence, Thurman, and Lamont. But recently we've seen him inactive, and I really don't ask myself why. I know why. I mean, anybody he comes back to fight is a challenge. He's already fought Spence and Thurman, so he'd have to come back and probably fight Terence Crawford. Well, Terence Crawford isn't going to want to fight him, but he can still be the gatekeeper for a lot of other guys, and we're going to see if those actually happen. Depending on the opponent, he may or may not want to even fight them. If he's going to come back to fight, he's going to want to make sure it's a win, and they strategically pick who. I doubt. I think the next person that's going to have a lot of trouble is going to be Boots. I don't think, just because of the eye test, he's so fast and he looks to be strong. I don't think a lot of people are going to give. He's going to end up like Terence Crawford for a while. But moving on to Thurman, he fought Guerrero. One of the few people he fought was Guerrero, Porter, Danny Garcia, and Manny Pacquiao. And those were one of the only top guys, notable guys that he had fought. There's a few other names on his list that are fair opponents, but not any top dogs. And he was just getting started. But Porter's a tough guy. That's a lot of wear and tear. Danny Garcia's a lot of wear and tear, and Manny Pacquiao can be a lot of wear and tear, and a lot of wear and tear because of the fashion in which he fought him. He did come forward. He did stay. He did engage with him. Of course, you have to remember, Thurman could have beat Manny Pacquiao, and I think a lot of lengthy athletic guys can beat Manny Pacquiao. They just don't want to be remembered as beating Manny Pacquiao like Floyd did. Because I think he could have done it. You saw how Bradley did it. He just pot shot, ran around, clinched. Exactly what Floyd did. Exactly what he did. That's where Floyd got the recipe from. He saw that and he says, "Man, I'll just copy it." And he did it better. Don't get me wrong. A lot more precise when hitting Manny. Spence has a huge resume in terms of bigger names. Danny Garcia, Porter, Mikey Garcia, Lamont Peterson, Brook, Algieri, and the only thing about him is, he's had his accident, and then the eye incident is it's going to be weighing in on him. I don't know how long it'll take him to come back, and if he'll be a super strong fighter. But I kind of still had, was thinking it would always be Crawford and Spence anyways. Now next to Crawford, his opponents have been Porter, Brook, Kahn, Horn, and Paul Stoll, which are all decent. They're decent fighters, but they're not. Crawford still hasn't fought the likes of Danny Garcia or he did fight Porter. I guess I consider him a top tier guy. I should have added him to the list next to the other guys. Khan's a pretty good fighter. Horn, no one's fought Horn besides Manny Pacquiao, so it's hard to gauge how tough of an opponent Horn is, because they just threw him at Manny, and then Crawford fought him, and then Paul Stoll. Not a lot of people have fought Paul Stoll. And then lastly, Bradley fought Manny Pacquiao once. Second fight, he fought Marquez. He fought Lamont Peterson and Diego Chavez and Provodnikov in a horrible, nasty fight. But all of these guys, I'll go over their names again: Kahn, Brook, Danny, Thurman, Spence, Crawford, and Bradley. Who's actually fought these guys? That's 7 fighters. If you actually grab a list of, and I have a list on some of Floyd's fighters, you got Manny, Berto, Maidana, Guerrero, Cotto, Ortiz, Mosley, all the way down to Marquez. Dude, he wouldn't make it through that. There's no way. Neither would Manny. And Manny actually fought. And then there's even more strong opponents onto welterweight, because now you have this Cuban guy who's Ugas, who seems to be pretty damn solid. He stopped Manny. He kept him from even coming inside. And that was pretty interesting. So this just goes to show you how well people choose. I mean, it's no secret why these filler matches, they really shouldn't count, man. You could see how I just saw another video from man, I forgot it. I'm probably subscribed to his YouTube channel. A pretty cool guy on boxing. And he was going over how the first 10 fights of a boxer's career is cherry picked for the intentions to get you up to the top and be undefeated and put you into position to fight big names. But if you do that and you look at the last part of people's career, I mean, they're picking the whole way through, but that has to mean that they're not fighting the best even at the beginning. So at best, the average boxer's win list, not including losses, but just wins, and I mean real competition, probably isn't going to be anywhere above 15 fights. There's no way the average person fights super strong opponents. Even Floyd didn't. I mean, you have all of these weird names on here, and you got Manny, which he was just in the fashion that he fights. He knows he's going to run away from him. They said he fought him, but who does he actually fight? You know what I mean? He's not going to engage with anyone. And even with that style that reduces actually fatigue to his body and wear and tear, he still didn't fight strong opposition at their best timing and at their best youth and moment and strength. So at best, I just put out a video where it says that Floyd he was 30-0, and now I think that's flawed, because I think he's more probably going to end up like at 15 at that. And like I said, I think it's just not him either. It's other people. I'm probably going to do another video on Manny Pacquiao next. And he's probably going to be around 15, because he's got a lot of fillers in there too. He's got a lot of guys that he avoided. And he stayed in the game a little bit longer as well. So you can make a case that he probably ducked a little bit more because Floyd just went away. But these welterweights, back to my point, these welterweights, there's no way that they're gonna just Danny Garcia took a vacation. Thurman, he's inactive. He's just like Danny Garcia. They were super hungry when all these weak guys were around. If they brought some more Malinajis in there, they'd jump back in and start boxing again. I don't blame them. But as soon as Crawford came in here all strong they kind of backed off, and now you got Ugas. I know that that's a good name to put down here because Bradley's gone. So you got Ugas, and then you have Boots, And then you have this other Hispanic kid from Dallas. I forgot his name right now, but y'all know who I'm talking about if you're boxing fans. I'm just going off the top of my head. He just fought the last guy that Terence Crawford beat, a European guy. And so these three guys, that would mean that Danny Garcia or Kieth Therman would have to fight either Ugas or Boots. Ugas Boots, but not even Ugas, because Ugas is gonna be fighting for unification. So Brook's out of the picture, and Khan's out of the picture because who's gonna fight them? Let's be honest. Danny Garcia's kind of still relevant. So is Thurman. Spence is on the top. Crawford's on the top. Bradley's retired. They really have nowhere to go. They're both going to be asking Crawford and Spence for the next few fights. And even Crawford, man. I know he's fought a few people, but he's just getting started too. Not that he doesn't deserve the big fights, but Crawford still hasn't even fought Danny Garcia. And Crawford still has not fought Kieth Therman. So it's the best time for him. He's going to get less credit. Yeah, he is. But he is going to get less credit, but it's going to be just in a way, because these guys are not the same Danny Garcia or the Kieth Therman that they used to be. They're going to go out there and take the money. Don't get me wrong, they're probably going to try, but they're not the same guys, man. But those are good tests, and they're still going to be wear and tear on Terence Crawford. But that'll be interesting to see those type of fights, and I think Crawford beats both of them. But there's gonna be wear and tear. So by the time he gets to Errol Spence, they may be on an even playing field, if you ask me. But you can see how what they've gone through is a lot tougher than what other people have gone through, and it has to do with their style of fighting too. They come forward a lot. They don't shy away from interaction. Manny Pacquiao also took on a lot of, because of his style, he took on a lot of wear and tear, because he was at the lower weights where these guys throw a lot more punches. He got in a lot of brawls with the lower weight class fighters. But yeah, hope you like this video, and hopefully we'll see some more activity out of the welterweight division. It won't be easy for anyone in that division, and you're kind of seeing how it's tough for them to unify, and when they do unify, that's going to be all credit to those guys. In my opinion, whoever unifies the welterweight division with that talent will be at that point have more of achievement than Floyd Mayweather, even with the record, because the record is weightless due to who you fought, when you fought them, and then the style in which you fought the fight. It's not who you fight with, but what you did. Great example, Manny Pacquiao versus what's his name? Marquez, right? Marquez was waiting for the counter on all three fights. Manny was pressing and he would wait, and so in a way you kind of give more credit to Manny for doing that. And a lot of fighters, so that's what really makes me think that, a lot of credit goes to who creates the action, who creates that momentum, because nobody wants to see nobody wants to see the next Floyd Mayweather. I think that would finish boxing. And you look at these young fighters and they don't want to be like him. They don't fight like him. They come forward, and that's what's reviving the sport. Maybe they should talk a little more shit. That was brilliant of them. You know. But other than that, that's it for this one. Hope you like and subscribe. Thank you very much.